Alright, hello and welcome to League of Loggers. This episode doesn't matter. We're
15.
talking about 15, yes. We're talking about Group Stage at MSI right now. We just got through the last batch of 30 matches. It was...
Woo!
So many matches.
It was so many matches. As always, Chase Viking Redbeard.
That's me.
I'm Kurtis James. Normally we would have Heather Stormy here. She is out just today. She will be back next week.
We've replaced her with Cervezas.
Yeah, Cervesa.
Legitimate Cervezas.
Maybe she's actually Hispanic and we just don't know it.
Ah.
Yeah. Would that make this more or less appropriate?
Yes.
Also, yes. Okay. Appropriate adjacent.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about MSI. Chase, first things first, ya boys, Phong Vu Buffalo.
Phong Vu Buffalo.
They didn't make it on.
No.
Because only the top 4 of these 6 made it on. We didn't expect them to make it on. But honestly, I think they had a pretty good showing.
They were really good at doing big things in the first 15-20 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And then boom, they just petered out in almost every single game they played.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really weird. I was like, oh, you guys are crushing G2. You guys are crushing Invictus. You are crushing Team Liquid. Oh, 22 minutes happened and you lost?
Unless it's G2. In which case, you still won!
Yeah, that did happen.
Twice!
Oh, yeah, they would be...
Phong Vu 2-0 G2. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is ridiculous, considering, like, G2's lineup is nothing to scoff at.
No.
I mean, caps and perks and just...
It's the European super team. They came into this tournament, people going, they might be number 2. And then they lost to Phong Vu twice.
Yeah, Phong Vu is the gatekeepers to them. We could have had some playoff, or some, what do you want to call them, tiebreakers between SKT and G2.
Yeah. No, I think Phong Vu, overall, they're good at what they do, like you said. When it came down to it, there were times where they definitely overreached and gave up their leads. That's how I felt about their first match against IG. Like, I definitely feel like they had the control of the tempo, control of the game, and they, like, kept chasing extra kills in their own jungle at one point, which then ended up getting IG back into the game. Well, and then they got, like, bared and they were back ahead, but then they chased more shit, and then IG, like, took over and won. Like, there was 2 very distinct portions of that game where it was all Phong Vu. And they gave it up because they didn't know how to quiet, like, not their aggression, but their decision-making. Deciding, okay, we don't have the ability to do this aggression right now. We don't have the resources, whether it be mana, HP, cooldowns. We don't have the number of people here to make it happen. And if you just keep getting into these constant skirmishes where the other team's, like, TPing in, I mean, they're bringing in fresh recruits with full health. Eventually, you're going to die a bunch. And when you're that close to your own base, just walk away, get your health, come back, and then dominate them with that, $2,000 you had in your pocket instead of dying with it.
Yeah, it was really disappointing seeing Phong Vu do exceptionally well the first 20 minutes of every single game they played. Like, there might be instances where that wasn't always the case, but a majority of their matches, they looked really good against all of the big teams.
Yeah.
And then they just literally just pooped it down their leg.
Just a bit.
I mean, congrats to them for taking down G2 twice. And that's about all you get.
They took down G2 twice, and they split with Flash Wolves, right? They ended up with 3 wins, 7 losses, I believe.
2 and 8.
Did they not split with Flash Wolves?
No.
Oh, they lost both to Flash Wolves.
Yeah.
I was misremembering that. Okay. Yeah, so, like, they just beat G2 twice. That's it. The only team they beat was G2. But they got close against IG. They got
close against everyone.
I feel like...
Which is absurd. Like,
the team they were furthest from was Liquid, I feel like, which is odd enough.
Yeah, that is odd because Liquid wasn't so hot themselves. Yeah. I mean, they scraped by, but just barely so.
So, what do we think about Vietnam right now as a region? Now, granted, Worlds last year, MSI this year, both Phong Vu Buffalo. And then, prior to that, like, we knew Gigabyte Marines, and they were pretty awesome and fun to watch. Like, I think, like, I'm afraid that Phong Vu is just the Flash Wolves of Vietnam, where they're, like, the one team that's worth a shit. But, I don't know, I'm excited to see more of this region and see them to contest LMS, Flash Wolves region, to be that number 5. Because I think they have it in them.
Yeah, I mean, they played well. They need to tweak a lot of things. Like, I bet they're crushing it in their region, but they kind of looked a little bit goofy when they just kind of lost their marbles at the end of every match. So
Right.
I expect them to hopefully take what they learned from this. I hope they're going over the VODs pretty heavily and trying to see exactly. Like, I mean, they have to know they messed up, obviously. Like, they're not in MSI anymore, but I bet they'll study what they did, how they played, and fine tune that, and hopefully we see them back at Worlds and perform a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Like, take what they learned from this, because, I mean, dominating in your region is one thing, but being able to get wins at the international stage, I mean, they got themselves out of the play-in stage, so they're better than those other regions, than Brazil, Turkey, Latin America, Russia. Like, they're better than those. Japan, Oceania. Like, they're better. They got to move on, and that allowed them to play even higher competition, which they took some games off of, and learn even more. And so, like, if they can continue taking that experience and actually making something out of it, I mean, all those other regions got to be kind of worried that they're never going to make it out of play-ins anymore, because Vietnam's just going to push right on past them.
Yeah, I mean, having to go through, like, the first round of play-ins and then, like, have to see Phong Vu Buffalo in 1907 Fenerbahce, like, jump in towards the end, or is that... It was
back in the play-ins, they took down they took down Fenerbahce in their group, and then they took down Vega in the final spot.
Yeah. So when you have those two teams and Phong Vu make it out, like, they're going to be the gatekeepers going forward, I imagine, unless they, like, really drop off between.
Well, Fenerbahce lost a handful of two players. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm always, like, optimistic or like a little pessimistic, I guess, like when a team like restructures more than two players. I think it was exactly two players, but even that's a pretty huge.
Right, well, especially for a region that's not like super established, so it's not like it's super easy to bring somebody else up who's that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I mean, we both feel pretty good about what Phong Vu did at this showing. I mean, it would have been cool to see them do better, but I mean, nothing to be ashamed of. Had they gone 0-10, that's one thing, but they went 2-8, and not only did they go 2-8, but those two wins were off of G2. That says something.
Yeah, G2 played kind of all over the place. I mean, they went 500, they went 5 wins, 5 losses.
Yeah.
But, like, some of their games, they looked really good, and some of them, like, granted, some of those were, like, against Invictus and, like, SKT, and, like, you just have to basically know you're not going to win those.
Yeah, well, so before we get all on G2, let's talk about the other team that dropped out. I don't think we have a whole lot to say about them, but Flash Wolves, the other team, they did get 3 wins, because they took down Phong Vu twice, and they split with Liquid.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think overall, honestly, it's actually a disappointing performance for Flash Wolves.
I mean, considering they made it farther in Worlds, I feel like...
Well, Worlds gets more people out of Group Stage.
Okay.
And actually, they didn't make it out of groups this last Worlds, I don't believe.
Never mind.
This is the first time they've ever missed getting out of groups at MSI, however. So it is disappointing in that light, and I feel like the LMS, like, I mean, I said it just in that last little segment, was they've got to start worrying about Vietnam at this point. Like, granted, they went 2-0 against Phong Vu, but their Flash Wolves' 1 win over Liquid, I don't feel like that holds nearly as much weight as Phong Vu's 2 over G2.
No, I agree. I mean, it's really interesting that they were just able to, like, shut down G2, but everyone else just trampled them.
Yeah.
Well, again, like, that 20-minute mark is when they got trampled. Like,
right.
They just...
If they can clean that up, they're a threat.
Absolutely.
I don't feel that way about Flash Wolves.
Yeah, the ones that they won, they looked okay. The ones that they lost, they looked really bad.
Yeah, I mean, there was, I think, maybe one game, because as I watched these matches, I marked down how I thought the teams looked, like, even in their loss. And, okay, so their first game against G2 and their second game against IG, they lost both of those, Flash Wolves did. But I did feel like they looked all right in that. The one against G2 was the one where each team stole a Baron, so like Flash Wolves was ahead, and then G2 stole a Baron, and then it looked like G2 was going to win, and then Flash Wolves stole one, so then it looked like, oh, maybe Flash Wolves will win, and they still lost. And then the one against IG, Flash Wolves was like ahead early, but then like they got like 25 minutes in and they weren't closing it out, and it seemed like they didn't know how to play like a suffocating siege endgame. And so it just kind of stalled out, and eventually the gold lead didn't expand, so it meant less and less and less as you get further into the game. And eventually, like, IG caught up and took over. You know, like, when it comes down to it, at the very end of a game, IG's going to be the better team fight team, most likely. And that's what happened. So, like, those are the two games where I feel like they lost, but they had the opportunity to win.
Yeah.
And I guess unlike Fangvu, where it feels like they don't know what to do, it felt like Flash Wolves kind of knew, but was just too hesitant to do it.
Yeah, it did seem like there was a lot of second guessing. Like, it seemed like when they were ahead early, they lost their confidence and they didn't know how to do anything. It was like they got shut down once, and that was basically it.
Yeah.
Like Flash Wolves is not a bad team, but I think they looked pretty bad this MSI.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you have to say relative strength versus each other, I would say that Flash Wolves is probably a bit better than Fangvu. I mean, they did 2-0 them. I think it's a lot closer than that 2-0. I think it's a 1, like, it's almost 50-50. It's probably like 60-40 strength, you know, like, who I think would win if you played 100 games kind of thing. I think, I like Alan's point, though. It's kind of weird LMS doesn't seem nearly as strong as the LPL. I mean, they're not the same region. Like, obviously, LPL's China and LMS is right there, though, with Hong Kong, Macau, and Taipei. But the thing is, like, those talent pools are super different and super different in size, too. Like, Hong Kong...
China's got 1 billion people. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just by sheer numbers alone, like,
I mean,
you
Hong
should
Kong's
be able
huge,
to have...
and it is a Chinese city, but that's all they have in common.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think, it's just a numbers game is a large portion of it. And the money, of course. Like, Hong Kong's wealthy, but, you know, is Taiwan or Taipei? It's one of the two. I think it might be Taiwan. But, yeah, Hong Kong and Macau, like, outside of Hong Kong, there's not a ton of money there. Whereas China, like, it's pretty flush.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a huge, like, world power just by yourself. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, the U.S. is like a world power, kind of, but, like, we rely more on our allies than what China does, so...
Right.
But, yeah, like, just the sheer amount of people, just numbers alone, like, they...
Yeah. And if you look at the numbers of, like, the actual player base, that's what matters more. 'Cause, like,
that's what I was trying to lean into, is, like, you're more likely to have a higher amount of, like, just the sheer number alone of, like, good players.
Right.
Like, by just straight-up statistic numbers, if you try to break down a bell curve.
Yeah, I mean, because it's interesting. You would think, like, the culture would help to a point. And I think maybe it does. Maybe if, like, LMS wasn't partly Hong Kong, that they'd be just garbage.
Yeah.
So
it's possible.
Who knows? But, yeah, I think we may very well see at Worlds Vietnam do better than the LMS. I would not be shocked to see that at all. If, like you said, if they can take what they experienced and learn from it here from MSI at Worlds, they may very well be better than the LMS.
Just want to point out, you got us all Cervezas and no limes. You monster.
What have you wanted the limes next time?
I would have used them, yeah. I'm like, it's
I didn't
missing
think about
something
it.
Limey flavor.
I was at like a corner store, so I didn't think I would have not thought about it if I was at a grocery store.
I wouldn't have either.
Damn it. If I would have told you beforehand, maybe you would have been like, did you get limes? But
Sorry, slightly.
So let's move on, though, from those two teams. Let's talk about the 4 who made it. We can talk about how they looked in group stage, and then we'll get a little bit into what we think they'll look like in the playoffs.
I mean, should we just continue up the list? I feel like we should talk about Liquid, and then we can...
Sure, kick it off.
Liquid was a lot more disappointing than I was hoping they would be. Like, they looked really good this year, and having Core JJ on their team, and how good Double Lift has been looking, and just, like, their whole team, like, they've got Jensen, like, just everyone on that team, and they still fumbled. Like, they didn't fumble so hard that they, like, got knocked out, but... I don't see them progressing. Like, they play Invictus, they're out.
Yeah. They were chosen by Invictus being the number 1 seed. So you and I agreed very much on how we saw Fangvu and Flash Wolves. I actually disagree with TL. they were exactly what I expected. Like, maybe slightly worse, but, I mean, we talked about it as they won the LCS, was they play slowly. They play a very, very clean version of the game, but there's almost no real aggression. And I've been happy, like, in the play-in knockout, to actually get the spot, they did show some aggression. I commented, I like that, I wanted to see more of that. And we saw some more of that, but it was very uneven on its success rates. We saw Xmithy feed hard, and then their last game against G2 to clinch their spot, we saw him go off.
Yeah.
Like, he won that game for them on that Jarvan. It was so nice to watch. And if they can play like that against IG, like, I'll get more to it, I think they maybe stand a chance. But if they have to play as old TL, where they're just slow and they're quiet, I don't know. Although, to be fair, they played IG twice, and Alan's right on it. Both times they played IG, they actually looked pretty darn good. It was just a failure to close in pivotal moments. Their clean style seems to work pretty well against IG, because IG will do some crazy stuff. Also, once again, mentioned here, Impact's been playing out of his mind. He has been the best player on that team this whole tournament.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen some good stuff from Core JJ. We've seen some good stuff from Jensen. Like that. Those guys tend to do well when the team as a whole does well, regardless of if they're ahead or not. Impact's showing the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, so my thought is like, they all perform well individually in different games, and they don't ever pull that cohesion together. Mm-hmm. Because if they could all be on their game in the same game,
then you get that game against G2.
Yeah, and then you're more likely to win. But no, unfortunately, they are just... They were wildly inconsistent at MSI so far.
Yeah, I think that is the tale for them, is that... I guess... Not even necessarily straight up inconsistency. I've heard it said before about them, and I tend to think it's true. TL is really good at beating the teams they should beat, and it has to do with their playstyle. They can absolutely beat the teams they should beat, but they have a harder time reaching up to other teams who are slightly above them. Because they have to get a little bit outside their comfort level, or their comfort zone, and push those other teams to do so. And they did that against G2 the second time. Like, against IG... If they push a little bit harder, maybe they break IG and they win. Either time. But they don't. They kind of sit back, and sometimes they even allow themselves, like against Flash Wolves, they sit back too damn hard, and they allow that team to push them, and that's why they lost to Flash Wolves the second time, I feel like. So, if they can just harness that, obviously, like you said, all play, like, good together, but if they can harness that ability to push just a little bit harder when it's necessary... I think they can be a really good team. I just don't know that I expect to see it happen from what we've seen so far this tournament.
So I think that, like, Team Liquid has this problem where in NA, they're the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody better than them. And so...
I mean, that's every team at this tournament, basically.
Yeah, but...
Some are more challenged.
Yeah, I feel like some of the other regions, like... They're gonna have a bigger pool of good player, like other teams, like just because like Invictus is like number 1 over there, it doesn't mean that their number 2 and 3 aren't significantly better.
Agreed.
Like I bet their number 2 and 3 is better than like Cloud9 and TSM.
I would absolutely.
And so it's really, I think it's more who they're having to play against every week and getting to scrim with every week, as opposed to like. They're NA good, but they're not world good.
Yeah.
And until they get... Like, I don't even know if there is a good way to solve that.
I
Boot
think,
camp all year round, I guess.
I mean, obviously, like, there's that. I think that, along with the combination of just playstyle, too. Although I believe... I mean, I said it kind of a bit ago. I think their playstyle is actually good into IG. I'm slightly surprised Invictus picked them instead of G2. Because I feel like IG's wins over G2 were a bit more obvious. Like, it was just like... But, I think they have a worry that maybe Perk starts doing some weird draft spot and they work out. You know, things like that. Like, he's played pretty standard so far. Like, they as a team have probably pulled out the coolest stuff in the group stage. But you know, like, I don't know. I think that's the slight worry from IG. They also probably feel pretty confident that G2 will smack down SKT, which just gives them the easiest route to winning it all. Because if they were to, you know, say, oh, let's pick G2, we beat them up because that's easier than TL, maybe they think SKT will dumpster on TL, which very likely, and so then they have to face SKT and they don't want, you know, they might be playing that 2-tier game where they're like, okay, who do we want to face in the finals because we think we can beat either of these teams? So who can we get to take down SKT? G2's the better option there. We'll take TL. But no, I think...
Well, TL...
I don't think TL's worse than I thought they were coming in. And I think if they can take lessons once again, like from that G2 game, they'll be better against IG. And if that works out alright, if they can bring that back to NA, they could be fucking dominant. They could be G2 in Europe dominant in the LCS, possibly.
I mean, they already are.
They're ahead, but they're not G2 fucking dumpstered the rest of... Like, it got close in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it wasn't even fucking close. Yeah. TL had to reverse sweep TSM to win.
That's true.
Like, the playstyles of Cloud9, and I think Cloud9 possibly would have taken them in 5 games, maybe even 1 if they got head-to-head there, just because Cloud9 plays so much faster, and TL struggled with that. If they can learn to do some of that shit themselves, they're better players and a cleaner team than TSM and Cloud9 are. Maybe they just fucking walk through the split and lose like 2 games.
I think that their showing has a lot to do with how they play in NA. Like, they play the very slow game the first 20 minutes, and then they wait for the other team to screw up.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
And it doesn't work on an international level.
No.
And so, like, they were kind of learning how to play not their style on an international level, like, on the fly. And they're damn lucky they made it out of groups, honestly. Because...
Lucky might be pushing it.
Okay.
They were better than Flash Wolves and Fengvu. They're lucky that there was 2 worse teams than them.
That's true. Okay, yeah, that's fair. But I mean, with how they were playing and how they had prepped, I would have thought that they would have done a little bit better. Like, I mean, because the games that they lost in, like, it wasn't like they just they lost. It was like they kind of looked silly doing it.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of mistakes by everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Core JJ was out of position more often than not. And it's just like, it's Core JJ. You've been to Worlds. You've won.
If there's one thing I've been actually straight up disappointed with at this MSI, it's been the bot lane's performance. More specifically, Core JJ. Because I expect a bit more out of him than I've seen.
Yeah, I was disappointed in how Core JJ played.
Yeah.
But...
Come on, man. We love you. Do better.
Yeah, well, I mean, you come to NA and you trounce everyone here, and that's all fine and dandy, but when you go to the world stage and you look silly...
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was great internationally previous when he was in Korea, but also, you know, he had stacked lanes for the most part,
4 other Koreans on his team carrying the shit out of him.
It's funny, he's been to NA before, but he was an AD carry for Dignitas at the time, so...
I'm starting to wonder how many of the people that have been coming NA were only good over in their respective,
because the rest of their team was so fucking good?
Exactly.
I don't think that's the only thing that makes him good. Like, they are good in their own right, but you can't backpack 4 fucking people.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, and Team Liquid is good enough players that we still see Core JJ look super good still.
Oh, he straight up carries, some games here in NA.
Oh, yeah.
And I think even one of those, play-in matches, he was, just
his
left
Kench was gross. Yeah.
But,
and we're seeing a lot of Kench bans.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen him pretty heavily targeted banned here, too. So that's obviously playing into it some. But yeah, so TL, not great, not terrible. G2, honestly, I'm a little disappointed in them. I'm going to take your stance that you had with TL with G2. I mean, I said coming in that if Mickey X was playing well, that I thought they could be number 2. And at times they looked like that team, and at times they didn't. And it generally wasn't because of Mickey. It was because Caps or Perks was just shit in the bed. Like, Jankos he wasn't having dominant performances. I think Wonder's still great. I think Wonder is probably the second best top laner in the world. I really think it's the Shy and then Wonder right now. And that's one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing in the matchups here going forward. Like, I think Wonder's super good. I think Perks and Caps have been good at times right now, but at other times you just aren't quite sure what the fuck they're doing. I mean, we saw in that G2 loss to TL, where Caps just, his Corki into the LeBlanc got hard dumpstered. Like, he just got outplayed all over the place, and you could tell he was trying to force things once he got behind. And he's a better player than that. He should be looking for an opportunity and then make something happen. He was trying to make something happen that had very little chance of happening.
Yeah.
And it was failing miserably. So I would put Khan at number 3 right behind Wonder, personally. I think Khan's very good, but I think it also has a lot to do with the team surrounding him. Because we've seen him succeed internationally. We've also seen him really flounder internet. When he was on Kingzone was his like first appearance, and like everybody's like, Khan's gonna be amazing, and he was like kind of like didn't do anything that whole tournament. He won the oh gosh, what was the player? I can't remember. He played Rise mid on not SKT. Maybe it was SKT. He was on a Korean team or no Chinese team. He might have been RNG back when it was Starhorn. And he just, like, came in and, like, shit the bed. And, like, coming in, people are like, he is the best or second best player. You know, it's going to be him versus Faker. And then he just sucked the entire time.
Yeah.
But, like, Khan's good. Don't get me wrong. But, like, I think Wonder's more consistent and a better performer. And I think that's G2's strength right now. And I want to see them play a bit more through it going forward. Yeah, I'm totally fine with seeing, like, Caps playing, you know, Lissandra, Silas, you know, that kind of... And Perks is going to say... Like, Silas is such a great pick for them because they have 3 laners who can play it. But, I don't know. I think G2, while they're good, while they're still better than TL, they did not impress me in any way. But that's just kind of my take on them because I expected bigger things from them, even with the injury for Mickey, because he ended up playing. I think he put himself at like 80%, but I don't think he's the issue, and that's why I'm disappointed in G2. But then again, maybe they need him at 100% for like the rest of the team to be any good. So what do you think on G2?
I didn't really follow them before. I didn't know that they were dumpstering everyone else left and right. Like, didn't they have a damn near perfect season?
They lost a handful of games like Liquid did late in the season.
Okay.
But I think they maybe lost 1 game in playoffs.
Okay.
Like, they 3-0'd the final, and it was not even fucking close.
Okay.
Like, those matches were all sub half an hour. I think it was like 25-26, and like, I don't know if there was like a sub 20, but like, they were all below 30 minutes. It was gross.
They're all great players, and so... Like, I'm not disappointed, it's just more confused. But, I mean, they did take 3rd behind SKT and Invictus, so I guess that makes a lot of sense to me. Like,
if they don't lose to Fengvu twice and then drop that final game to fucking TL, they get 2nd, though. Like, that's the part that confuses. You lose to Fengvu twice. Did they beat SKT? How many losses did SKT have?
SKT had 3.
3. Okay, so they split with SKT. They lost twice to Fengvu, and then split with TL. Like, where does that put you in the hierarchy?
Which is why I said I was confused.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, like, mad, not, like, upset. Like, I'm just confused.
We're not even disappointed. You're not even disappointed.
No.
I'm disappointed. You're just confused.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they looked better than everyone below them. I can say that with confidence. Like,
did they? They 0-2 against Fengvu. I mean, they're obviously better than Fengvu, but I have a hard time reconciling that because they looked garbage in those games.
Again, confused.
I know. Some people question their sexuality. That team questions their, like, ability. Just like, are we good? I don't know. Let's lose to Vietnam.
But Vietnam tried really hard this year. Maybe they felt bad because they knew no one else was going to lose to them.
Yeah.
So, like, we're going to give them a couple pity wins. We know we'll still get 3rd.
Yeah. I think the only team they looked worse against than Vietnam was IG. Like, they did not look good in those games at all.
No, but... I mean, when we get to IG, we can talk about that 15-minute game against SKT.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, It's really hard to say, like, you looked bad against a team that fucking dumpstered SKT.
TL looked better against them. Like that. Once again, confused. I'm totally on the confused train with you there. I don't fucking understand this team and their performance. Like that's what I feel like I would normally want to say about an NA team in an international competition. Like, how is it you did what you did? Like, how do you show up and play like that? That's usually what NA does to us. I'm confused. Why did you bench yourself, Ole? You know, things like that. And it's G2 this time. Like, granted, it's still better than the NA representative. Great, good job. But what the fuck is going on?
Well, I mean, when you've only got 6 teams, like, it's really hard to say, like, especially when you've got Invictus and SKT, and SKT's back on their game. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really hard to say, like, you guys didn't do very well because the 2 teams that did really well were expected to do well.
Right. Well, I mean, G2 was as well, though. That's the thing. Like, but you know what? You mentioned SKT back on their game. Last week I asked if Korea was going to come back because they did not look good last season, period, really.
They didn't even make it to Worlds.
Well, I mean they made... SKT didn't,
yeah.
But, like, Korea as a region looked bad at Worlds. And so, yeah, SKT wasn't good last season, period, and Korea didn't look good at Worlds, period. I think they showed up. They're back on their game. Are they the best in the world? No, but SKT's here as a good representative of the region as we expect that region to be. One of the best in the world. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about SKT, I feel like they won the games they should have won, and then they split with IG, which was, and they split with G2, right? Yeah. And the win over IG was surprising, but I think also IG, like, going undefeated would be nice and all, but there's that pressure there. You're also, like, coasting out the end of it. You know, mental game's down a little bit. But they all, and especially because they dumpstered SKT. Yeah. Like, let's talk about that SKT loss. Previous world record for international play was like 16 something or like 17 minutes.
Yeah, I thought it was like 17:30 or something because they like had a whole minute over it.
Yeah, it was 16:01 was the official end time on this game.
No, it was 15:55.
Official end time is 16 because it goes by when Nexus actually explodes. It's like when you get in your post game, it's always like 4 seconds longer or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, 16:01. Like, you had 1 minute to decide if you wanted to surrender in that game. If everyone agreed.
Can you surrender in a Worlds game? Or like an MSI match?
It hasn't happened in a professional game in like 4 seasons. I'm guessing it's probably against the code of conduct now, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be kind of really sad.
Yeah, well, and like teams used to surrender when they were getting dumpstered just so that like they mentally didn't have to deal with it, but I think teams are more resilient now. So one, there is the option to come back, and 2, teams use that as time to learn and strategize.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I mean, let's just play this out and kind of get a feel for what they're doing, get ourselves more tape for our coaching staff, etc. But anyway, 16:01. SKT, what? 16:01 SKT.
Yeah, that was the most strange thing ever. Is like they just blew them up. It was like they just hard shut them down every lane and then just took it down mid. I was like, okay, there's a tower. There's another tower. There's another tower. There's inhibitor. The game's up. What just happened?
No, right? Like,
because I think they got all the way to inhibitor. They reset, and then they just came right back down mid, and it was done.
Yeah.
I was like, I think it was Draven on IG, and like Draven had like a bloodthirster at like 10 minutes. 8 minutes.
He had an 8-minute bloodthirster. I'm pretty
I was
sure
like,
it was.
okay, Draven's already disgusting to deal with. If he's fed,
and he had the knot, so he has all the CC in the world to just crush somebody out, because it takes, all 4 autos once you have a BF sword on Draven against like a squishy. So it's like, oh, knot hooks you, that's 1 auto. He does the auto tech stun. You get another 1.5 in there, so all you gotta do is squeeze in another 1.5 as the person runs away, and they're dead. Like, yeah, and honestly, I gotta say, like, a lot of it was the matchup, the Terexona, like, IG played into that matchup perfectly. They're like, let's pick something super aggressive and snowbally and dive the ever-loving shit out of it. And the minute they got ahead, like, I mean, like I said, 4 shot with the Draven. Against a Sona, it's like a 3. Like Bloodthirster Draven was like 3-shotting her if he got any crits out of it. Like it was disgusting. Oh man, I gotta say, the one thing I like about what happened the most in that match, not, oh, that looks so good for my G, that looks so bad for SKT, you know, nothing of that. That definitively proved that if you are competent, you can crush a Terexona.
Oh, yeah.
You need to bring a jungler who can turret dive, and bring a support who can help the turret dive as well, along with a early damage AD carry. You do that, you just dive, maybe a roaming mid laner, so it's a 4-person dive because the enemy jungle will probably be trying to protect. Just come down there and fuck on them. If you can get those early kills, and you do it more than once, take away their turret, like, that was the thing, like, they get rid of the turret and the Sona doesn't even, like, have her item fucking upgraded yet. What's she going to do? Her lane is over, and she's so far behind that she's never going to be relevant. And that kills that lane. I'm glad that somebody showed something that seems like a pretty good blueprint that you can replicate, so that we don't have to come up with some like weird item nerfs to get rid of the double, the Terexona bot lane. It's just like, okay, here you go. Diving jungler, diving support, early damage, AD carry, have at it.
Yeah.
I like it. I loved it. It was great. It's embarrassing for SKT. They are never going to pick Terexona again.
At least not into Invictus.
Not without banning both Draven and Nautilus.
Yeah, no. That was like a blink and you miss it match. Like
Yeah.
because I was like watching, I had to re-watch it at work because I missed it because it happened so fast. Like usually, like I watch my matches at like 1.75 speed, and so it's like I've got like chipmunks yelling at me, like because that's what the announcers sound like.
Right. Oh, it's still audio at 1.75. I thought it turned off after 1.5.
Nope. Still got audio at
so
1.75.
it goes mute at 2.
Maybe. No, I'm pretty sure like it's not audible at 2.
Oh, okay. It's just
like
squeals.
so I tried doing 2.0, but
it just sounds like a One Direction concert. High pitched screaming.
Sure, yes. So at 1.75, it's still audible. You can still hear everything if you're paying attention. It's fine. But that game happened so fast, I had to re-watch it because like I was in the middle of doing something and I looked over, went back, looked over, it was over. I was like, oh, what happened? There's 6 towers gone.
Yeah, no, that match was incredible to watch. It's funny because like if you told me going into the group stage, IG's gonna win a game, world record 1601, I'd be like, I feel so bad for the Buffalo. Nope, and then they're also going to lose to that team. Then I would just have been confused. It had a lot to do with the matchup. I agree with Sean and Alan. Like the matchup was sick. They played it correctly, where it was just pressuring that side of the map. The Camille did very well too. Like they just did everything right, and they did it so exactly right from draft to game execution that we got a world record match between 2 of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, that's
some fucked
it was
up shit.
beautifully done. Like hats off to Invictus for that. Like I mean, if you would have said that the SKT was taken down in 1601 minutes during the game and it was last season, I'd been like, okay, that makes sense. This season though?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I think SKT, we said they did play very well overall. They did well. They split with IG. They split with G2. They beat everybody else. Great. IG, they lost just the one game. Just the one. And once again, it was when everything was locked down and they're just... I don't know if they were really coasting, but I'm not going to put it out of the realm of possibility. Like, maybe not intentionally coasting, but there's a combination of the mental pressure of trying to...
Why is it whenever I say teams are coasting, you're like, no, you're terrible.
Because you say they're coasting before shit's actually locked in.
I mean, they're basically locked in.
Yeah, they're locked in adjacent.
Yeah, they are.
But no, and I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying they were. That's also the difference. You're always like, no, they're definitely coasting.
Because they were always coasting.
But
every team I said coasting, heard it here first.
I think there was definitely
Coasting
pressure for them to try and be the first team to go like undefeated in the group stage at MSI because nobody's done it. Still nobody's done it.
They were damn close.
So close.
And at that point, like, I feel like it probably wasn't coasting because, like, they were that close.
I think the pressure and SKT just being really good.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how that first game goes if SKT doesn't get a terrible matchup that gets destroyed early. Like, maybe SKT actually would have been the team that won both those and then just split one with G2. And so you'd have IG having lost 2 games to SKT, and then SKT just split with G2, and then you'd have a different 1 seed. Like, we don't even fucking know.
Yeah.
I mean, that Terexona got so destroyed, we'll never know. But IG, really good team. They're able to outlast early pressure from the likes of G2, and honestly, they just kind of dumpster G2 early. They were able to outlast early pressure from Fengvu. They were able to go toe-to-toe with another team who's able to play very clean in TL, and I think TL's honestly the harder matchup for them overall, unless they were taken easy, but I don't think that's the case personally. I think that TL's style matches up really well, and if TL was a better team, they would beat IG just because of the way they match up.
Sure.
But I feel like IG being just better players, eventually they outplay TL just because of that. Like, your play style's great and like a superior version or matchup or whatever you want to say, but you know, when you're going Impact into the Shy, slight edge to the Shy. Sure. When you go like Smithy into Null, like Null. You know, you go Jensen into Rookie, edge to Rookie. Like, and Jensen's looked good this tournament. He's had some rough ones too, but he's looked pretty good this tournament. The only place I feel a little more confident in TL is the bot lane, but even then I feel like because of the pressure throughout the rest of the map, that bot lane isn't able to actually contest IG.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the IG thing. It's just, they're so good top to bottom. So good.
I just think that, like, TL is, like, so good NA, and it's really hard to...
Right.
It's really hard to say, like, that they're good internationally.
Yeah.
Like, even
I feel
even
like
now,
if they were an aggressive team, IG would dumpster them.
Yeah. Like...
I think Cloud9 would get wrecked by IG.
Knowing what the matchup is going into knockouts, it's just like, sayonara, Team Liquid, like...
So let's go ahead and talk about the matchup, actually. Let's just get straight in, dig into this, because IG good, and we've gone through the whole list so far.
Sure.
So IG picked TL.
I feel like that's the right choice. Like, I feel like Invictus is just going to dumpster them.
I think...
go ahead. If Invictus, like, slips up, maybe Team Liquid pulls a win, but I would be very surprised to see them win 2 matches.
I feel like every game will be kind of close, except for maybe one game. Because, I mean, we saw both the games IG and TL played. Like, they went, like, 35 minutes. Like, we saw most of the games end in, like, 22 to 27, roughly. Like, I would guess
the best parts about those 30 short matches is a lot of them were pretty short.
Yeah, and I feel like the average was probably somewhere around 25 minutes on the group stage as a whole. And when we saw IG and TL play, those were the longer games. Because I think, like I said, I think the clean play from TL matches up pretty well. Especially because IG is so good that they have a hard time stopping themselves from, like, getting into fights that they maybe shouldn't. Because they're so used to, they get into these fights and then they just win them. And TL's clean enough that they just get out, or they manage to just maybe outplay it and, like, even things up. Like, this keeps happening. Whereas some other team that's not quite as tight, like, you go, oh, here's the fight, let's do it, and, like, you fuck up something in there, and IG just rolls you because they're just better players.
Yeah.
So the cohesiveness of TL is the only thing that's, like, saving them. I agree with you. I think IG, definite favorite in this for sure. I think it's the right choice for them to make, just because something I mentioned earlier with the, like, thinking of who you're going to face in the finals. I think they'd rather not play SKT, and I think G2's far more likely to take down SKT than TL is.
Would they even have the option to play SKT?
No. You got to pick between
top 1.
Yeah, one got to pick
and 2
between.
Get to pick 3 and 4.
Yeah, well, number 1 picks 3 and 4, and then 2 gets the other one.
Okay,
but yeah. So, I mean, if you're IG, like, I don't think you want to play SKT. So I think they're playing the next level chess and saying, okay, we can beat either of these teams, but we're afraid of SKT. Who of those two can threaten SKT? G2 can. Because I think if you're just going, all I want to do is get to the finals, I pick G2 because we beat them hard. Like, maybe you're afraid that they pull out some other stuff, like I said earlier, but I think generally speaking, I think IG's just... Yeah, generally speaking, I think IG matches up into G2 so well that it would be a 3-0 without question. TL, maybe a match gets pulled off. Maybe if TL plays out their fucking minds and like Xmithie has the best series of his life, they go to 5 and lose 3-2. Like, IG wins 3-2.
Yeah.
I don't see IG losing this, but I think they can smash G2 better just because the matchups. Not that G2's the worst team, just a matchup, play style thing. But I think they're looking to make sure they don't face SKT. And, I mean, let's go ahead, unless you have more to say about TLIG.
No.
Let's go ahead and talk about SKT versus G2. What do you think of that?
This one's going to be a little bit closer. I still have SKT as the favorite, just because...
I mean, they split, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
They went 1-1. It's just a matter of who else they lost to or beat. That's the differentiating factors.
Well, I mean, it's always hard to compare, like, single matches versus a best of 5.
Right.
Because there's so many things that can be tweaked in between matches that definitely could help either team. And so I'm not going to completely write G2 off. I bet if there is a set that's going to go to 5 games, it's going to be this one.
Right, yeah. I think this could definitely go to 5. I think it's more likely than not, it feels like. It's definitely going to go 4. I would be shocked if either of these teams sweeps.
Agreed. I'm guessing at least a 3-1, but like you said, I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3-2 show up.
Yeah, so this one's interesting for me. So if I'm looking lane to lane, I think right now Wonder's better than... He's been playing better at this tournament than Khan. But I think Khan's still really formidable. I think... I'm going to jump down. Faker, Caps. I think Faker is back on his games. Caps has been very up and down this tournament. We've seen him have some great games. We've seen him have some very questionable games. Bot lane. I think if Perks and Mickey X... Like, if Perks and Mickey are playing really well, I think they're maybe better than Teddy and Mata. I think that's, like, pretty darn even matchup, personally.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it has to do more with how Mickey's playing. I think Mickey's probably better than Mata right now, if he's at full strength, but he's not.
He's to power up a little bit.
Yeah, and I feel like Teddy has... He's so great as a marksman, but Perks has those other options. And I don't know how good Teddy will be at handling those other options if he's thrown, more than one of them, kind of thing. The big thing that stands out to me, though, is that Klid and Jankos. I think Klid has been the most important player on SKT this tournament. I didn't talk about it earlier because I knew I wanted to talk about it here. Klid is playing out of his fucking mind, and he is hard crushing teams himself sometimes. Like, his scoreline... Even when it's like, oh, he went like 8 and 6 and whatever, he's getting kills that he has no business getting and opening up the map for Faker and Co.
Is he one of the new additions?
Yeah,
okay, because like I don't recognize his name at all.
Yeah, he's new to SKT. He was playing in the LPL in China last year. He's from Korea, but he only ever started in LPL before now.
Aha. Okay.
But yeah, like he is so good right now. His Rek'Sai just gets kills that it has no business getting. And, like, I think Klid is the key to this matchup, and that's why I actually favor SKT. Because I think Klid will be able to disrupt... Like, even though I think Wonder's probably slightly better than Khan in this tournament, I think Klid Khan is scarier than Jankos Wonder. I
agree with that.
If I'm SKT, I think I can shut down Wonder with Klid Khan, even if Jankos is there for counter ganks. And then G2's going to sink or swim based on if Perks and Caps have a good game or a bad game, or if they, one of them has good, one has bad. That's probably not good enough to deal with Teddy and Faker.
Yeah. So what's been so crazy is seeing some of the champions that they're pulling out. Like, they're pulling out so many different random champions. Like, it's been crazy. Yeah, exactly. It's just like Rek'Sai, like, she's been very... not around up until like MSI, at least in NA.
Right. Well, just into like the Jarvan matchup and during like playoffs, we saw a lot of it, especially off TSM.
This year?
Yeah, this year. Because
was I sleeping?
yes,
Okay.
Acadian was like crushing on Rek'Sai, but
Okay,
like
okay.
nothing else. You probably remember that.
Yeah. Okay. It's just funny seeing like some of these champions like making a resurgence and like on a
Nautilus
world stage.
got buffed, so we're constantly seeing Nautilus right now.
Yeah, he was another one. I was like, oh, Nautilus is here.
Yeah,
What the hell?
It was the hard buff he got.
Okay, that makes sense. I've actually largely been sleeping on the patch notes. Like I usually read them and pay attention to them.
You haven't seen Warwick in any of them, so you're not reading them closely.
Honestly, like, I wasn't playing for a while. I didn't start playing until like last week or the week before.
Other league game.
Yeah, fucking Rocket League.
But
I love that game.
So what do you think though, G2 SKT?
I'm with you. I'm leaning into SKT.
But just like a best of 5.
I think it's gonna be a 3-1.
Okay.
Like
I think 3-1's probably more likely because I think Clid is performing that much better, and Caps and Perks have been good at times, bad at the others, and if they're not both winning, I mean, how do you get away with feeding Faker or feeding Teddy?
You don't.
Like you can get away with feeding Perks or feeding Caps because in that scenario the other one is like getting dumpstered because like these two, neither of them seem to like have middle of the road games. They either like seem to be really up or really down, and so that's where I see that one. But you've got the 4-game SKT as well, huh?
Yeah.
So if the final is SKT IG, let's just go a little step further just to finish this one off.
It's gonna go game 5, and unless SKT can really pull something out of their ass, I still think Invictus is the better team.
I agree with that right now. I mean, SKT maybe will just show me how wrong I am in this semifinal.
And I actually hope to have that happen.
What happens if it's an all-Western final? What if TL and G2 somehow both win?
I will drink 2 40s on the next stream.
Okay, that's all you.
That's what I said. I'll drink 2 40s.
It's not going to happen.
I'll be getting
so
a lift
okay.
here and there.
Yeah. It won't happen, so it's okay. You're safe. Yeah. If it happens, Heather would drink a 40. That's how much we know it's not going to happen. So, chat, if you've got anything, specifics on teams, players, matchups, champions that were picked, you want to put Heather? Did I miss anything that she said?
Shit. Happy belated birthday to Xmithy. I remember that much.
Oh yeah, that's Xmithy. When they got into the group, that was his birthday.
Let's see.
I think I covered most of it. Just do a read through. But yeah, if you have anything in the chat, hit us with that. And we'll do a little
PVB
chat about Yumi maybe as well.
IG,
Quick.
PVB beating G2. SKT's Clid is an absolute monster.
Oh, I hit that one on
IG
my own.
versus TL, which I can't really foresee TL winning with how IG plays.
Yep.
Multiple games where IG was down, and then they turn it around with ferocity.
Yep.
I mean, that's...
They end up just being the better team. I think we hit all those pretty well.
Yep.
So we did right by Heather.
Hi. Heather says hi. Our Cervesa bucket. Hi. We're going to call her Heather this week.
Next week we're going to call her the Cervesa bucket.
No, we're calling the Cervesa bucket Heather.
I want you to say, like, when you see Heather next week, just be like, hi, Cerveza bucket. She'll be like, what?
Unless she watches us, she won't get it.
She might watch the VOD.
It's possible. Let's see. Can't wait to watch it when it's uploaded.
There you go. She might watch it.
Karthus jungle still sucks. Obvi.
Yeah. I played Jarvan for, like, the first time ever the other night in an actual game. I played 3 games. Either way, though, I faced Karthus in, like, either the second, third game, whatever, crushed the shit out, because he does nothing early.
Yeah.
Like, and I was Jarvan, so, like, I didn't really get to face him strip. He was, like, just staying the fuck away from me. But I was doing things on the map, so all my lanes won, and he had nothing to work with. It was just like, oh, you're worthless.
Every time
I will build a Hex Drinker and forget you exist.
Every time I go against the Karthus in the jungle, I just go steal all of his jungle, and then when I run into him, I kill him.
Yeah, I should have been stealing it, but I'm super uncomfortable in the jungle and on Jarvan, so I was like, I'm not gonna risk it.
Fair enough.
Alright, nothing from the chat, so quick hit on Yumi. Because we were chatting a bit before the show on it. What do you think of Yumi, new champion?
I've played 2 games with her on my team. I've not played her personally.
Okay.
We lost the first one pretty bad. She didn't necessarily perform terribly. It was just like kind of the team overall was not doing so hot.
You got behind, so it didn't matter.
And then the second time she was on my team, I think it was right before the hotfix came out, depending on when the hotfix came out yesterday.
No idea.
Because I played a match like around like 6 or so.
Okay. It was after 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
Hotfix was already out, I'm almost sure.
Okay, well then she didn't really seem all that OP
yeah,
or better, but like she did okay.
I faced 2 Yumis yesterday in my 2 or 3 games, and Yumi was never the good part of that team.
That's kind of where I was at. I was in my promos for both of those matches.
And you made it too.
I did.
Congrats to Chase. You made it to silver in solo queue.
Again.
Again.
And I did it in like 100 fewer matches.
Yeah, now to gold.
Yeah, I actually...
You have time. You have a whole half a season ahead of you.
I actually feel pretty confident that I could potentially make gold this split. Like, I'm not betting on it, but it's possible.
Last season you ended silver 5, 4?
I think I was silver. I got
you made
to,
it like up to 2?
I made it to 2, and then I dipped back down to 4.
Yeah, you like hard drop. So I think silver 2-1's definitely like in the cards. If you can get 1 or gold 4, like that'd be progress, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I've got high hopes. I've been playing a little bit better this season, and I've actually been... So, I hard failed my placements last split.
Yeah, you did.
And, like, I ended up, like, bronze 5. Mm-hmm. I think that's where I started.
I told you how dumb you were, and you're like, yeah, I'm never doing that again.
I thought, this will be really easy to climb out. No, it was not.
You forget, all your teammates are going to be garbage, and unless you're good enough to backpack them... Which we are not.
No, I wasn't. There were a couple games where I did, but more often than not, no, it was fucking terrible. So I actually played my placements appropriately. I got placed appropriately. And,
Sean the Kid. This is Seaners, I'm believing.
It is, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, but...
Yeah.
Beer is so wonderful. Seaners, when you're drinking again.
He is drinking again.
Oh wait, is it?
Yep, he's good to drink again.
What?
It was just like it was the Monday after we all went out.
Why did we not
time.
have a party on Monday? Seaners.
Because it was Monday.
What the fuck, man?
I'm old.
Was it this Monday or last Monday?
It was after Smash.
So last Monday.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. I could have partied on Monday.
You could have.
I was unemployed.
I am a great backpack.
Chase is a great backpack. No, he's not.
No.
Garen is a good backpack. That is why
occasionally,
but no. Anyway, Yumi, I think so. It's interesting. My quick thought on her, like Alan said, she's squishy if she gets caught. But that's the thing. Like she's an enchanter support. She should be squishy. Like the reason Soraka is so annoying is 1, it can be hard to catch her, and 2, she's not as squishy as she should be because she's like constantly fucking healing and silencing you and blah 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 as she runs away. However, like, Yumi kind of plays into what an enchanter support should be. I'm a teacher. Oh, that's right. Fuck, I had teachers who drank on Mondays, I'm pretty sure.
My wife's a teacher that drinks on Mondays when...
Well, she is married to you.
Yeah, that's true. Being married to an alcoholic helps.
No, I mean, there's a double implication there.
Oh, being married to me helps.
Or doesn't. Drinking helps being married to you.
Well, I was meaning that, like, being married to me is a good reason to drink.
Oh, there you go. So,
not, like, my fridge is overflowing with beer right now. It's a bit ridiculous.
Also, yes. You'll bring some of that over tomorrow. But anyway, I think Yumi, like, it's good that she's squishy. So a thing I've seen over and over, and I'm sure Riot's totally aware of it too, is whenever a new character is released that is very different than anything we're used to, whether it's, like, Kench or Yumi or... Kane, they usually have a much higher or lower win percentage than everything else. Because
I feel like Kane's pretty...
When he came out, that's what I'm talking. When they release, because the thing, like when he released, he was like jumping in bitches and going through walls and fucking had a buttload of healing and CC if he went Rost. Like
I don't know. Every single time I fucking watch like the pros play, I'm like, oh shit, that move can go through shit. I've been playing this game wrong.
Yeah, Red King's ridiculous if you're good at it. I mean,
not talking about
Kane.
We're just talking about like random champions. Like I didn't know Silas could like jump through shit.
Oh yeah.
Like he can like
his
hop.
Dash.
Yeah, he can like hop through shit.
Yeah,
like
he's got a dash.
Yeah.
There's very few dashes that don't go through walls. Like Kleds doesn't go through a wall. Things like that. Anyway.
I still learn.
So we...
Gordon is a war vet. I don't know that that's true, but I'll drink to that.
No, so we see it with all these champions, and I think what
Alan
it
just
is...
said the exact opposite. Blue Kane is so strong now.
Right now he is. Red Kane was super ridiculous.
That's
on release.
Rost, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Shadow Assassin is the blue one.
Yep.
So, but we see this on release that it's... And Zoe's another one. Like, and her numbers, like, people still struggle with her for a long time. But it's because people don't understand how to either play as them or play against them. And with Yumi, I think it's a lot. People don't understand how to play as her because as a player, like, this is how, I see, like, the Rost Kane. Like, you can figure out how to play as that. And, Zoe, you're like, oh, I put somebody to sleep and then I hit them for all the fucking damage. Cool, I can figure that out. Other people have to figure out, okay, how do I dodge this fucking skill shot that comes out but then becomes giant, and if it hits me, I have to, like, try and get behind minions, or, like, but there's no minions, and, like, it's harder to play on the defensive side of those champions.
Especially when they can, like, hook shove that shit around, too.
Yeah. So, like, these champions that come out with massive win rates, like, good win rates, it's because it's harder to figure out how to play against it as a defensive, as the opponent. Yumi's complicated to play as the player playing her.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, when do I want to be like in the lane phase? You should constantly be sitting on your AD carry. Even though in your head you're like, okay, I want to shield them and heal them. No. Check your passive. You should be doing your auto attacks to, like, use your passive. It's obviously telling you, like, this will put you in danger because you have to have some danger.
I have no idea what any of her abilities
She gains
are.
mana, certain auto, every so often off an auto attack, I think it is, or something. Like, her passive has to do with auto attacks, but, like, it's hinting at you, hey, maybe you should not always be sitting on your AD carry. Also, in the bot lane, it gives them only one target to have to fuck on. Like, if you have two targets, you have to be watching two things, like, and that's where it's complicated, because you see, okay, my first skill point, I'm just able to sit on somebody and, like, get off them, whatever. Like, it goes against your immediate instinct to not just be on your AD carry and, like, healing them and shit the moment you hit level 2. Like, no, you want to be going back and forth and forcing the enemy to deal with you. And, like, whenever they throw a skill shot at you, that's when you quick jump on your AD carry for a moment, get back off. Like, it's free, it's 0 cooldown. You should just... It's so much harder to play with her than it is with most other champions that came out, just because the way you play as her is so different. And I think that has a huge contribution to her low win rate. But we saw buffs. We'll see people figure it out more. I think she needed the buffs anyway, to be fair. But I don't think she was...
27
Yeah, she was
whatever.
sub 30, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, realistically, even with those stats, she was a sub 30. But I think she was, like, probably in that 40-ish range where they should be giving her buffs anyway.
Yeah.
And I think as people figure out how the fuck to use her, both as the support and the AD carry, how to play in this completely new lane, I think that bot lane will become a 45 win percent. Like, she'll probably be lower just because squishy champions usually are lower unless, like, they're an assassin and it's high tier play. But yeah, so that's my feelings on Yumi. We've gone through MSI. Any other thoughts before we call it?
Yeah, I know he's not watching, but I have to give a sad shout out to Cozy. Did you see he's leaving us?
Cozy's leaving us?
Yeah, apparently he got a job out in San Fran.
Young Jin, you go to hell.
Congrats and fuck you.
Yeah, no, fuck it. He just moved here not too long ago.
Yeah, sad days.
God damn it, Cozy. Alright, well, on that depressing note...
Sorry.
That's going to be it for episode 15 of League of Loggers. We will be back Monday. Our normal schedule will be back on Monday with the results of
and
MSI.
We only have we've got maximum, 15?
Maximum 15, that's correct. So
hopefully less.
It'll probably be less. But anyway, we'll be back on Monday, back to our normal League of Loggers schedule. Obviously, we'll be off until LCS kicks off again. I guess one other thing, just LCS news that popped in was Selfie from FlyQuest roster. No, yeah, two things. Selfie from FlyQuest Academy roster was traded for Wadid from Rogue.
Rogue, yes.
Yeah, he was on Rogue. Wadid, the support, so we're going to see probably Wadid starting in place of JJ for FlyQuest. So I'm interested to see how Wild Turtle does with that support. I think Wadid's actually quite a good player. Three things. Thank you, Alan, for reminding me. Amazing Former jungler for TSM.
Yeah, coach on Cloud9.
Oh, there's that too. But Amazing is going to...
So many newses.
And I don't care about the coaches stuff so much. Amazing is coming to 100 Thieves.
Oh, that was Rainover.
Yeah, so Amazing is coming to 100 Thieves. Rainover, former jungler, is going to be coaching at Cloud9, which I think is great. I think Santorin and I think it's probably more for Blabber, to be honest. But yeah, so what did on FlyQuest to support? Amazing. Probably starting over Onda, I would assume, on 100 Thieves. We'll see.
Poor Onda.
I think that team has lots of other issues too, personally, but we'll see. And then the final news being the whole Rick Fox issue with Echo Fox, where one of the ownership people at Echo Fox had been called out for saying racist things, and not just being the first time. Rick Fox said
not just saying that, but like in like correspondence
in
emails
and shit,
and
yeah.
like work email, like no,
Yeah.
like it's absurd. Like
no, it's absolutely untenable. And so Rick Fox had said he was leaving Echo Fox, which had a huge reaction from the community, myself included. I don't want Rick Fox to leave. I think he's good for LCS and League.
Agreed.
And I think Riot had the correct response. Not only did they come out again, because they did an investigation, they handled it properly. They said, looked in to see if it was true. Obviously, they have evidence that it is. I'm sure they just have the actual emails and shit, and other people saying, yep, he's also said it out loud, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Riot, you would expect most of these kind of situations where they're like, discipline needs to be taken, blah, blah, blah. And they just, like, leave it vague. Riot's response was straight up, he is removed from the organization. Full-on removal, not disciplined, not fined, whatever. He is gone, or Riot will consider Echo Fox's future in the league. And you know what? I think that's the proper stance. To come out and say, you know what? We can't have this on any level. Not just against anybody, but it is also Rick Fox, like, a good face for the league. So I'm sure that helped the case, made it easier for Riot to say what they said. But it's just like, he is gone, or you as an organization are gone, because we will not have him be a part of what we are. And I fully applaud that decision.
It's not the 50s anymore. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason there should be racism or hate. Like, I mean, it's really easy for me to say that as a white male, but...
Right, yeah.
But
as a white male, you're also the person who has it easiest if you want to be racist or hate people.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. I applaud Riot for making the right stance on this. That's all there's to it. They did it quickly, they did it firmly, and yeah, I hope he's gone and Rick stays.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is I really hope that Rick Fox doesn't leave. Because he said that he would sell if this person did not.
Oh, did he give it that if? Because I thought...
He said that as long as he's around, he will not be around.
Okay, I didn't remember the statement where he said it that way, because my fear is still that because nothing was done until it became public because of Rick, that he doesn't have faith in the other people there. And I do not blame him if that is the case. He has every right to be like
being racist.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even bandwagon. It's just like not saying anything, and that's the problem.
Exactly. Like, if I'm Rick, even if I'm Rick, I totally understand if Rick's stance is, seriously, I had to be the person who had to come out, say something publicly, get the league involved for anything to fucking happen. I get that. If that's the case, I'm bothered by that too. So, yeah, I hope Rick stays around. I think he's a great person. I think he's a great face for not only Echo Fox as a team, but for the league in general. I mean, him as a former NBA All-Star, like, he fucking gets sports, and he gets what this game and this league can become. So, let's hope he stays around, and like I said, kudos to Riot for, I believe, handling it quickly and properly. Like, not only did they first investigate, but they've put their foot down hard on this, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that Rick said that as long as he remains, like, because he's not even a part of the organization, he's an investor.
I mean, both, but yeah, he's not ownership, which is why he couldn't obviously get rid of that guy himself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So, I think he's an investor, and so I think that he's going to have...
Like, he founded it, or helped found it, but I don't know if Amit, this douchebag, I assume he came in with more money, which helped Echo Fox secure their spot in the franchising, and so then he became a primary owner kind of thing. I'm
Sure.
guessing that's how it went. I'd have to do research.
Yeah.
But either way, so looking forward to LCS there though soon. We'll see some slightly new squads.
Do we know when?
We don't.
Fucking A,
It's
Riot.
dumb. That's one of the things Riot, as a league, does not handle properly. Is we should know the fucking schedule ahead of time, even if it is subject to change. This is fucking ridiculous.
I need to buy my tickets.
Yeah, well, like, even if it's subject to change, I should have a concept of when things are. Like, even if you don't let me buy tickets for the split until, like 2 weeks before the split starts,
To be fair,
that's
we
fine.
could probably pick a Friday or a Saturday in, like, the next couple months,
Right.
and we'll be fine.
Well, like, I have an estimate of when it
We're
is.
aiming for a specific week.
Yeah, exactly. And I have an estimate of when it is, and it will probably be that weekend. But I don't even have Riot's estimate, and it's fucking stupid. There's no reason, as a professional sports league, which it is at this point, that we don't know when the back half of the season is. Like, can you fucking imagine if, the NBA or the MLB was like, well, okay, so this is when All-Star Weekend is. No, I'm sorry. They tell you when the first half of the season is, and they're like, All-Star Weekend's going to be after that. We're not going to tell you when. And then you do All-Star Weekend, and so when you hit the end of the season, they're like, okay, All-Star Weekend's this time. You're like, great. And then until All-Star Weekend's over, they don't tell you when all the other games are. Like, what the fuck? It's the dumbest shit in the world.
Yeah.
Like, and I understand with them, it has to do with Worlds and, like, anything they do international where they're, like, renting venues out. But you can still give us a estimated subject to change. And then the other thing Alan pointed out, I want Fantasy LCS back. If we do have one, there will be a YetiGamer League of Vloggers Fantasy LCS League. That will happen. Hopefully it's back this split. I'm not confident on it, but I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. So anyway, that's going to do it for us on episode 15 of League of Vloggers. So we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Monday. Cheers.
Yeah, we'll be back.